Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I'm here with Oxy Sports Information Director Mike Wells. Mike, first year with this job, obviously a huge honor for you. It's a huge honor for us to have you here with us. Why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your background for us this afternoon.
Well, I'm Michael Wells. I'm the Sports Information Director, 3 months on the job. I actually just graduated last year from Dominican University. I was a student athlete there, so I played basketball. And afterwards, I was working at the Marin Independent Journal, which is a local newspaper. And basically, I wanted to combine my two interests in both journalism and sports, particularly collegiate sports. Both my parents were basketball coaches. My mom is still a basketball coach. She actually coaches at a rival school, Claremont Mudd Scripps. She's been there for 30 years. So I grew up with collegiate athletics as kind of like my babysitter is the best way I like to explain it to everybody. Instead of having somebody come over and watch me while I was at home, I just went down and whatever sport was in season, that was my babysitter. So for baseball, I was the bat boy. For football, I was the ball boy. I ran out to get the tee. For basketball, I was dribbling through the legs in the hallway and then shooting on the court at halftime. So that mixed with my undergraduate training, communications and some radio stuff, a lot of the same stuff that you guys are doing, I kind of parlayed that into a gig, applied for the job, and got it. So I'm happy to be here. Before I came and had my first day back in August, the last time I was here, I think was the championship between Claremont and Occidental men's basketball in like 2007, maybe 2006. But before that, even further back, I was like 9 years old. I was the ball boy, and the Stags were taking on the Tigers football game. So it's kind of a nice story how it all came full circle, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, you kind of answered my next question, was going to be why Occidental. You kind of just basically went over why you chose us. But in particular, what was your vision really coming here? I mean, this year you're doing a lot of things, in particular with the student media program, which is something that I know at a lot of larger Division I schools, that type of thing. Student media program, at least in the sports department, is something that's absolutely huge. And I know that coming to a smaller school like Occidental, there wasn't really a lot of that last year. I know with the former information director and the way that things were last year, we were lucky if we got any coverage of sporting events whatsoever. And now, obviously, Tiger Talk being one of those sort of facets, and also students like myself and Jake and Josh getting to cover live sporting events. Sort of go into depth a little bit for us, if you will, just about what was your vision coming here, and how were you able to really get everything, the funds and the resources together in order to allow us to do that this year?
Well, one of the things that's interesting about me just graduating and then getting this job is not too long ago, I was where you guys were. I wanted a platform, I wanted to practice, I wanted to broadcast games. I was writing for the school newspaper before I joined on at the Marin IJ and started writing there. I was doing stuff whenever I could. If I wasn't playing, I was, hey, B. Dave, who was our sports information director at Dominican University, can I cover the women's soccer game? You look like you got your hands full. Let me get a crack at it. Let me write the story and put it online. So I realized that not only is this a good opportunity for students to learn sports journalism, something that tons are interested in, but it's also an incredible resource for the school, for the college. So what I did when I showed up is I said, what different departments and how can I get students involved? How can I reach out to give them a platform, some practice, an opportunity, some experience, and also lighten the load for myself. So I've been very fortunate with the students that I've found. Fortunately, there's a very solid work-study support program at Occidental College, and that's the way that I've been able to reach out to students who have film experience, students that have broadcasting type of experience like yourselves. I've been trying to reach out to people that can write and produce good stories and maybe coach them up a little bit on how best to write a game story. So it's been a combination of Occidental's resources and a good situation, and me being really fresh with some of these ideas and bringing my own experience to, hey, maybe let's get somebody else involved, some of these other students involved.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shows with the way that, I know personally for myself, I use the Oxy Athletics page, very heavily for, being the sports editor at the Oxy Weekly. I can't be at every event every week, and being able to go on the Oxy Athletics page, even if it's a Tuesday night, right before publication comes out and there's a game, I can rely. It definitely wasn't the case in years past where I could go right on there, and if the game ends at 10 o'clock, I know at 10 o'clock what the result is. That's something that I really enjoy this year. I definitely wanted to give you and the rest of the squad down here kudos for being able to do that, because that's never been the case in the past, and that was something I definitely noticed this year. very noticeable difference?
Well, one of the things, having a newspaper background, and newspapers are going out of style pretty quick here,
Yeah.
but having that experience, not only when I'm 75, I can tell my grandchildren a story about newspapers and be like, wow, Grandpa, you are old. I mean, that's really what it'll be, right? But the other part of that is you still have very strictly enforced deadlines, so I was exposed to that. So if you went out to cover a game at 6 p.m. and the game went till 9:25, our deadline at the Marin IJ was 9:45. That was the deadline for games and stories that you were covering. Now you might have a minute or two wiggle room, but that gives you 25 minutes to write that story. So I learned and I had practice, and I really appreciated the process of getting the information done quickly, accurately, and efficiently. So some of the stuff that we'll do here when we're covering a game, especially when we have multiple sporting events going on, is we write the story during the game. Something that I'm sure the weekly, you might get a little bit of practice at that, but being a weekly publication, not quite as much. But even though there's no strict deadline, yes, I'm trying to get the scores and the box scores and the stories to the media, so maybe they'll give us some ink. It's also just a nice thing for our fans and for our parents and for our student athletes to have. I mean, the game ended 20 minutes ago. I want to know about it. We're in a day and age where if Monday Night Football's on, don't tell me the score. I know we're recording during it here, but you can go on if you missed it, and you can check right now, and you can get a story. So I want to do my best to mimic that here.
Absolutely. I think Josh had a question for you, but
No, I just wanted to add to what Ryan said. I just wanted to thank you and compliment you on all that you've done in getting the students involved in the process of, producing some of these videos and even the blog like we're doing. And I was wondering if on top of that you could talk about sort of your experience in working with the students and how that's been compared to when you were in their situation.
It's been nice. It's been a great working relationship. I try to give the students that I'm working with a lot of freedom. I'm very demanding in what I expect. I do want people to work hard, but I'm also open to them and constantly tossing things their way. Hey, what else do you want to learn? What do you want to get out of this? So those two things, I think it makes a great fit. We're Occidental College. We're a small Division III liberal arts institution. We have students that are very, very academic, very smart. We have students that want to be as competitive as possible in their athletics, even though it's on a smaller scale than Division I. All that stuff put together, you can still produce a quality product and put a lot of effort into it and get a lot of involvement. It really helps to have students engaged.
And we're talking about generals, but do you mind going into specifics in naming some of these student projects that have been going on?
Austin is a student whose last name is slipping me right now. He's been taking some photos for us. BB Sanders is a nice young writer. She's a freshman, took all the AP English classes, has two parents as journalists, and she's a lacrosse player, going to play in the spring. And so one of the things that she's interested in is to maybe start writing some stories. So she wrote the volleyball game article, unfortunately, against Whittier on Saturday night. Ryan Rombach is just a whiz. He's a sophomore. He's incredible with the camera and the audio. Our video editing and technical skills that he has are really just impressive. So the combination of those people have really helped us produce some of the multimedia content that we've been able to put together.
absolutely. And I know you're a busy guy, so we'll let you get out of here. Last question though, Mike. Just in general, I mean, you said you've been on the job 3 months. What are your impressions of Occidental so far, not only from an athletic standpoint, but just the school in general, friendly faces, kind of what are you vibing on so far right now, so far this year?
Well, for me, with my colleagues, it feels like home. It really does. Again, I grew up in this atmosphere. One of the things I really appreciate is the people I work with have a good camaraderie. It's a great team atmosphere down here. And just what I've been exposed to outside of the athletic department has been a great experience so far. The students, I love that you guys are in here with the headsets right now. Every other student that likes sports is watching Monday Night Football, but you guys are in here practicing a craft because you like it, you enjoy it. So I appreciate that enthusiasm. It's the same ambitious attitude that I have and that I had when I was a student. And then my exposure to the faculty and the staff and what little it has been so far has been great. It's a nice place. I'm from Southern California originally, so I'm glad to be back.
Awesome. Well, Mike, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have you on the show some more. Of course, you kind of do, you basically produce it for us, so you always know what's going on. But
I do.
Thanks for stopping by, and obviously best of luck with everything else.